Here I have Kit, and she is a barn owl. And she's not the common barn owl that we get here in the UK, she's actually a European barn owl, and so that's why she's got these different colours. Kit is one of our main display birds at Mercer Falconry. The barn owls that we have here in the UK are called the common barn owl. They're not overly common, that's just what they're called. And they've got this lovely white facial cone, the white chest, and a lovely light brown on their back. So quite different to Kit's colours, where she's got the dark chest, the dark face, and the really silver colours on her back. Barn owls are a really widespread bird. You get them across the entire world on nearly every single continent apart from the two poles. We don't get them on the two poles because it's just too cold for them there. They're really quite a small bird, and so they wouldn't do well to survive in such extreme cold temperatures. And there are about 20 different types of barn owl, and they come in all sorts of different colours. So Kit is more of a European barn owl, and so that's why she's the browner colours. The British barn owl, the common barn owl, the very white colours. And then we have the American barn owls, which are much darker, ashy sort of colours. Now, although they all come in these different variety of colours, they all share one feature, and that is their beautiful big facial cone. And the facial cone is what really makes the barn owls special. That's their main sense. That's how they hear. For barn owls, they have an ear on each side of their head, like we do. So when a noise happens somewhere, it hits one ear slightly before the other. That's how our brain can work out the direction of the sound by this tiny delay. And the barn owls are the same. They've got one ear on each side of their head. However, the barn owls have got asymmetric hearing, and that means that as well as having one ear on each side of their head, they've also got one ear higher up than the other. So as well as working out the direction of the sound, they can also work out the height of a sound. And this really allows them to pinpoint with incredible accuracy where noises are coming from. And so that's exactly how the barn owls will hunt. Barn owls fly quite high up in the air for an owl. The owls tend to fly quite low down to the ground, but not the barn owls. And what they'll do is they zigzag, flying up and down across the fields, looking out for their prey. They don't fly in the woods like tawny owls, they're open land owls. And so they use fields to hunt, and we call this quartering the ground, where they fly up and down the field. And what they're doing is they're listening out for their prey. Now, the barn owl's favourite prey is the short-tailed field vole, but they will also go for other small rodents such as mice and shrews. When they hear a noise in the grass, what they will do is they'll fly over and they will actually hover above it. A barn owl can hover just like a kestrel, and they'll point their face down and use that great big facial cone to pinpoint exactly where the noise is coming from. They will then lift their wings up above their body to throw themselves down and chuck their feet right in the ground to catch it. Now, barn owls have actually got bald feet. If you look at every other owl, they've got feathers going all the way down to their talons. Barn owls are different. Barn owls have got bald feet, and that's because of the way that they hunt, because they hunt in long grass and because they throw their feet in to grab their prey. If they had feathers all over their feet, doing this would just destroy those feathers. Another incredible adaptation of the owls, shared by many of the owls, not just the barn owls, is their silent flight. It won't be very useful if your primary sense is your hearing and all you can hear whilst trying to hunt is yourself flapping, so barn owls have got the silent flight. There are a few different adaptations that allow them to have the silent flight. One is their incredibly soft, dense feathers. The owl's skeleton underneath all the feathers is actually quite small, and in some owls like the great grey owl, it's only a third of the size that you are actually seeing, and so a lot of the owl is just dense feathers. This really helps to cushion them in the air. Another adaptation to help them have silent flight is along the front of their wings. The barn owls have got a little comb-like structure of small tiny feathers pointed forwards along the front of their wing. Rather than the air hitting the front of the wing and making a noise, this little comb-like structure cuts through the air, allowing the air to pass around the wing more quietly. And the main adaptation that allows a barn owl to have silent flight is because they are naturally messy. If you go and look at any other bird, you'll see the nice clean cut, crisp edges to their feathers. The owls are different. The owls are naturally scruffy. So when a bird flies, the flapping of their wing create swirls of air behind them. So this is the main thing that you hear. And a good example of this is when a pigeon takes off or jumps out of a tree and flaps its wings really quickly, and you hear that whoosh whoosh whooshing sound. So that's the swirling of air behind the wings as the pigeon is flapping. Now barn owls have got naturally messy feathers, and they're all ruffled along the edges. They don't have nice clean cut edges to their feathers like all the other birds. When the barn owls flap their wings and when the barn owls are gliding through the air, these ruffled edges to their feathers disturbs the air, it stops it from swirling, it scatters it all around, and that makes them completely silent. But these dense soft feathers come at a bit of a price. The barn owls are not very waterproof, so they can't really hunt in the rain. So the numbers of barn owls is fluctuating all the time. Sometimes they're on the rise and sometimes they are declining, but generally there is not many of them here in the UK. There's about 4,000 breeding pairs in the wild, which might sound like a lot, but if you compare that to the common buzzard that we have here in the wild, they have 79,000 breeding pairs, so it's quite a difference. So the barn owls have come up with a different way to raise their young. So typically with birds, when they lay a clutch of eggs, they don't actually start to incubate the eggs until they've laid about the third one. This keeps the first couple just a little bit cooler and it stops them from growing too quickly. That means once they start to incubate them, they incubate all of the eggs so that they all hatch at roughly the same time. Barn owls don't do this. Barn owls will start to incubate their eggs as soon as they've laid the first one, which means the first egg can have up to a week more of incubation than the last egg that's laid, meaning that the first egg will hatch about a week before the last egg. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but in barn owls they grow so quickly that they look like a different bird every single day. And so a week of growing is really quite a lot. And what this means is that if the barn owls can't hunt due to the weather, and if there isn't enough food around and they can't find enough food to feed all of their young, then the bigger siblings will just eat the smaller siblings. This is called sibling-icide. And it just sort of ensures that even if the barn owls can't get food, there is always going to be food in the nest. So it really is quite a tough world for the barn owl. Fortunately for Kit, she's never had to experience the wild, and that's because I raised her by hand from a week old, so she's called an imprint. If you would like to see a video about why we imprint and how that's done, then make sure to subscribe. That's all for this video. Let me know in the comments if you learned something new about barn owls that you didn't know before. Make sure to subscribe for more bird of prey and falconry related videos. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.